Computer. Okay, here we are at Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. February 16th. Graphic Design 2, Art 237. And today, there's one other file I wanted to file. Recent. We're going to, first thing we're going to do is the shapes game. I'm looking at the syllabus. Here we are. The 16th. Last week, we were supposed to do, let's do the kerning game. And so I'm going to send you this link, and it's going to say this. Let's do the, I'm going to say kerning. That's the name of it. The kerning game. Tell us your score next week. Take a screenshot. Hit Command-Shift-4, Control-Shift-4. So I'll send you this. And then I'm going to present it because it's fun. And we don't need to do this in class. If we were in class, we would. But you'll do this yourself because it's good. What it is, it's working with what we learned with doing the pair. And it's a segue into can everybody see this S?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, great. So here's what we want to do here. Click on it. Click on it. We should be familiar with all this because of the pair, right? Right. And I'm going to take there's a handle, there's an anchor point, and I'm going to pull that down. It's showing us where to do it, to make that letter. And what happened really quickly right there, if everybody caught that, was I got a 10. Yay, I got a 10. So there's 10 of these, and they go through the different shapes, and there's giving you a typeface, Lubelin graph, the designer and released in 1974. This is nice to know. So I want to come up here and correct this line here. These lines where the pink is, correct these two lines because they're kind of flat. And we're going to design some letters ourselves. So this is an introduction to do that. So I'm coming out here and I'm going to say, that's about right. And I'm going to come out here, I'm going to say, that's about right. And then I'm going to push back. Oh, I can see this a little, I bet you I didn't get a 10. Compare. Oh, very bad. So that's where I put my handle. That's where it should have been, and it would have pushed that up a little bit. Same thing here. Well, let me try another one. Very bad. Teacher did very bad. This is both letter, original letter, your letter. Next. All right, so let me see if I can do better this time. Oops, I gotta go up. Uh-oh. All right. Compare. 81. All right, that's better. And I'm going to come up here. So I've been doing this years and years and years, and you see I'm not perfect. There you go. So let's see how you guys can do this on your own. And down here, there's a little gray right there. There's was mine, and that's where it should have been. All right, good enough. Any questions? So, let me push this back. So again, you'll get this. And then if you take a screenshot, you can show us what your final score is, because there's 10 of them. That's just a little fun. It's a little introduction into what we're coming up with next, but not today. Because today we're going to review this is due today. So I didn't get them all. And I'm going to present that. Type techniques, which has everything to do with what our little game that we just finished, or I just presented. So shape tutorials. So I'm going to come over here and see who has given us something to look at. So going from the top, Nicholas, are you here?
Yep.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I got to see where you're at here. When I'm looking over this way, I'm looking at you guys. Are you, there you are, right there. Okay, I see. Hi. All right, let's look at your, I want to do this with everybody. Shape techniques. Let's see how you did. So
there were, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but there were 2 on the nature one that I didn't do,
okay.
Just because I got a little confused, but we can.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and we're going to go over it, and I'm going to type it, the issues, because probably I'd be surprised if everybody got everything right. So this is kind of a process. We're going to go through this, and then we'll present it again. But you have to be able to get through these steps so that you're prepared to go into the other projects that are coming up. So I'm gonna keep track of you. So I'll go like I'm gonna do this to everybody. So everybody can see the screen. You know, now I'm going to keep track of what you've done, and then I'll send this to you so you are reminded of where we're at. So shape techniques, and I've got the instructions right here. So, oops, I can see right from the get-go, you're missing a pair, right? Nick?
Yeah, I'm just making notes.
I'm gonna send, you can make notes, but I'm going to send you this stuff as well.
All right, perfect.
And the way that you've got this set up is separate artboard. So there is the cancel. 2 other people didn't set this up this way. So
they're in the right order. I just don't know why the naming convention is off, but
Oh, this is a little difficult. Artboard 2. I don't see these here. Artboard 3. So the artboards are misnumbered. They're not sequential. Artboard 3 scale change.
Yeah, but if you go down after 2, just going in order, the pages will line up. I didn't change the names of the artboards.
Okay, well, that might be the artboards that I gave you were off numbered. I don't think that everybody's submitted it this way. Not quite sure. I'm not going to try to get into it. We're just going to look at what we're missing here, which is this is supposed to be a give me a second. I'm looking at instructions. Each of the number of tasks are 3-inch. You can see in there, I think. 3-inch box with 1-point stroke are used for the compositions. All shapes are filled with black, no strokes. So I'm going to put that here. You didn't do that. This is so I'm going to copy this and tell you about it. So let's look at what you're missing is a 3x3 square with a stroke like you did here, right? Nick?
Yep.
You see that? That's not
Yep.
a 3x3 square static pattern, and it doesn't have a stroke.
Okay.
Do we know how to do that?
Yeah, I can get it done.
Maybe I want to demonstrate that. Object, clicking path, release. There's my cat. It's not my cat, but here's symmetry. And the size of this box is not 3x3. I can see it up here width 3.7 by height by 3.5. So it's not the right size, right? So what I want to do is go over here. I'm going to come off of it and make it 3 by 3. Okay, and let's make that empty, and let's make that stroke. I'm not sure if the stroke is going to stay. So stroke, 1 point, black. Go to my selection tool, the black arrow, come over here, line it up, shift both of these, shift, click, click, got them both selected, object, clipping path, make. Perfect.
Okay.
Now if I don't think even my instruction I had that stroke. I'm not going to, here's how you put that stroke on. This is not all that important, but the rest of these things need to be 3x3 with a stroke on it. So you're, part of this entire stroke skill set of doing design work for a client is to follow their program, which is I'm giving you the program, and the program is all of this. So you got to be able to follow the instructions, right, everybody? So we're not going to give up here until we have. So you know how to do this, right, Nick?
Yep.
Static pattern. So that's just follow instructions. Now, this pattern this is a static pattern. And oh, by the way, going back to the instructions. Use one or all of primitive shapes, circle, square, triangle, to demonstrate the following. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm copying it and I'm pasting this into your instructions. And you didn't do that because here's a circle and a square are these two primitive shapes. And the idea is to not mimic that, mimic what a static pattern is using a circle, square, or triangle instead of trying to mimic this. What I'm trying to get at here, and it's always important to try to give the reasons, is so that you are not illustrating a beehive, you are illustrating the concept of static pattern. Get it?
Yeah.
So you got to make that static pattern out of a circle, square, or triangle. And so again, so it is not a beehive, it's what a static pattern is. And you're getting there because these are all interlocked, but I would probably, with the right shape, fill a square so it's even more static. There's no floating quality to this. That's why we have it. We got a boundary, so there's a relationship to the form, to the boundary, the edge. All right, that's number 3. Let's go to number 4. Dynamic repetition. All right, so primitive issue, dynamic repetition. Well, this is dynamic because it is at angles. As you'll see, my cursor is going at an angle here, different angle here, different angle here, different angle here. It might be more dynamic if it was change of scale. Some were bigger, some were smaller. It might be more dynamic if there was more negative space, which is the white. So they're not necessarily as centered. And dynamic repetition. Almost, I guess I would say that's dynamic repetition. Okay, we understand your 3x3 has got to be, right. Okay, good. Thank you for speaking up. Emphasis of negative space. So what is the negative space here?
The negative space would be the white.
Okay, the white. So that's got to be a primitive. And so this emphasis of negative space. Okay, great. Number 5. And so emphasis of positive space. What is the positive space here?
The positive space would be the plaque. It might need to be a bit larger.
Oh, okay, I get you. I agree with that. Would be the rock, right?
Yeah.
And so emphasis of positive space would be the black square.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, good. Transformation of a primitive by overlap and scale change. Transformation of a primitive by overlap and scale change. Well, we got to find that from nature, right?
Yep.
Here is overlap, right? Because that looks like it's going into this and it's a rectangle, right?
Yes.
And this is scale change as well, except for that's not one this is not a primitive according to my instructions, which is circle, square, or triangle, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to I'm on 5. Let's go to 6. Oppositional expressions, compositions, confusion. All right, so this using primitives. Let's see what this is. I'm going back to the instructions over here on this other screen. One second. Use one primitive shape of your choice. This primitive may be many or few used in each of the compositions. You get that, Nick? I don't need to write that, right? All right, so you got a one primitive shape of your choice. And the reason for this is to see if you can make with one primitive confusion. Now this is, you got 1, 2, and a variation on a primitive. 3 different, you got to do that with 1. It's harder to do that than it is with this, correct?
Yeah.
And what you're doing here, as I see it, is that you're using these basic shapes and you're making an illustration. So it's referring to a face that has eyebrow is askew and the mouth is askew, and it expresses the association to confusion by the reminding you of what you have seen in the past as an illustrator's expression of confusion. So you're using a kind of social cultural reference point to a face.
Mm.
Did I hit that right?
Yes.
And now, but what you haven't done is expressed that through the abstraction of a primitive circle or a triangle. You've used those elements to associate to something that is a memory of some illustration that you've drawn from. I've said the same thing twice, but I always say things twice because I try to be articulate and make sure I'm understood. Do you agree with what I just said?
Yes.
So now do you know what you're going to do? Tell me.
I mean, first thing I need to do is just like strip down a bit because I'm not using complete primitives, but also the challenge is using like one type of shape to make the expression, correct?
Right. You got to.
So,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so instead of using circles and rectangles, I need to create the same kind of image just using that singular primitive, right?
Yes, one primitive. I'm going to put this in my notes here. Okay. So yes, to one primitive. And another thing that you haven't done here is that the boundary of this confusion is really this square right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. So you have set that dead center, whereas I would think confusion would be really. I'm trying to get everybody to think of the frame as the first element of a composition is this frame. And how does that relate to the frame? Well, it relates. It always relates, but it relates by its isolation in space and dead center. And a dead center, which is right there, is not confusing. Your eye is making a X right here, right here. Even if you don't even think about it, it's doing that. So you're locating the shape right dead in the center. It's symmetrical, and it's expressing a purpose of being locked to the center. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So confusion probably wouldn't be that. It'd be like, I don't know quite where I am, which would be something quite different than this composition. You agree?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So now I'm going to go to 7. And this doesn't have a hierarchy of visual information. Is this supposed to be the opposite of confusion?
No, that's the last.
All right,
last page.
I got the pages mixed up. So if this is, by the way, if that is where the composition happens, then the confusion should be outside of that rule. So what's the opposite of confusion? What did you use?
I think I used joy, and should be the one right above it. That one, yeah. No, I guess it's in the wrong order.
Yeah. So I got this 7, 8. No, this is all right. We'll come back to that.
Yeah,
7.
I'll get it organized and resubmit it.
Yeah, well, yeah, even everybody's gonna probably have to go and resubmit it because we're gonna go over this again and make sure you got it, you've cleared it up. So we're all thinking. I'm just looking for it now. I'm looking for it. It doesn't look like it's here. Oh,
Yep, there it is.
there it is. Joy. All right, you did the same thing.
Yep.
You agree?
Yeah, I'm realizing as we're going through this, a lot of the same mistakes were just kind of made consistently. That I
Yeah,
need to go
that's
back
all
and
right.
fix.
There's no, I have no problem with anything that's going on. In fact, it's really going great because it's getting a clarity of thought, and that's what this first go around is. I intended this to occur exactly like it's occurring. So good job. You understand. I'm going to go through these now and shape builder tool. Yes, I did it. Did you look at the? Let me see where we're at. Did you look at that website explanation that I showed you or gave you?
The non-Adobe one, yeah, I did.
You did. So I'd like everybody to follow, because there's more than one thing that the shape builder does, and I didn't introduce it, so I gave it over to a tutorial on the web, and I hope that everybody looks at that so they get a feeling for what this work does. All right. In my instructions, I did a couple different ways because it does it a couple different ways. So there's my demonstration on the instructions. So try that out, everybody, or at least look at the video so you know what it does. So Pathfinder tool, add to shape. I'm just going to assume that you went through all of this and did that,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
a clipping mask. You got any issues on a clipping mask?
No, I did find it a little confusing, just in application, but like, the more I use it, the more I'll understand it.
Okay, well, I demonstrated it with the cat, right?
Yeah, I'm going through that right now as I'm doing it, and it's making more sense as I'm doing it.
Okay, good. And
So
a compound path, that's nice. Okay. I've got this all recording. So you need, all right, so you understand what the problem with these are. You're illustrating these, right?
yeah,
You're not using the primitive to address this as shapes first in relation to the square. Are we set, Nick?
yep, I think we're good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to come over here, and this is Nick right here, and I'm going to copy this. These are like just to so you remember, and I'll send this to you. And the next one we're going to go to is if these arrows down here, everybody's looking at this screen, right? These arrows down here mean you're missing things, everybody. Rochelle's got her pair going on. Oops, can't see it. Pair.
Yeah, so I've been looking at this project like over the past weekend, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't really done it because I'm just like I keep having problem after problem, and I'm not really understanding. Like I didn't understand how to do this assignment.
All right, so I'm going to go for. Did our review with Nick help you out?
A little bit, but I'm still very confused because there's like a lot going on.
Right.
Like to me, like I just opened this and it was just like I read the instructions and then I tried watching the videos, but it was just a lot of, I guess, links and I don't know. I was just like completely lost.
Okay.
And I don't want to be.
Okay, good. Can we come back to you? Because if I review others that submitted, then you'll get less loss. And then we can come back to you and let you ask questions. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Like, I didn't really also, like, just to go back, I didn't know where to start because there was, I guess, like, there was just a lot going on. So, yeah.
well, okay, we can start it. We can do it. I mean, there's a video that demonstrates how to, demonstrates all the steps. Did you see that? That was like last class or something.
Yeah, I watched it, but I don't know.
All right, you need a little more help. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. All right, so Dariana, are you here?
Yeah, I'm not Dariana, I'm Alejandro, and I'm having the same situation. So,
All right. Well,
yeah.
we'll come back. We'll come back. But Dariana is, I see her, but she isn't responding. Hello.
I'm here, but I'm having the same problems as Rochelle and Alejandro.
What do you want to go? I'll open this up and see what the issue is.
There's nothing there.
Oh, there's nothing. Well, you sent it in, but there's nothing here.
That's from last week.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Did we talk about this last week?
You only went over the first part right there where the cursor is, but the second half, I'm having the same problems as Rochelle. Like, it's just very confusing, and I didn't even know like how to begin, where to start. The tutorials aren't really easy to follow, so
All right. So the reason why I haven't demonstrated what these are is for you to see if you can figure it out. Now, if I give you a demonstration, which I'll do, then I'm giving you the solution. So it was intentional that I left this unexplained. Do you understand why? It was a problem that you were to solve using these instructions. But I'm going to go over this, and I began it by giving this instructions. Whoops. Right here. That here is in nature symmetry. So you go through Google Images or wherever you want to go and look for images, and you're looking for an image that's symmetrical. Symmetry is like everything on this side is exactly the same as this side. And you find that in nature, and you download that picture and you bring it in here, and you do this clipping mask with this rule around it, like this. And I demonstrated that a few minutes ago, so it's recorded on the tape. And then you take and say, all right, using primitives, a square, a circle, or a triangle. And by the way, I'm going to demonstrate how to do a triangle. I go to the star tool, and I go, and there's a star, and I go to my arrow keys, there's a triangle or a star. But that is in the shape rectangle tool that's down here. If you want to use a triangle, the other way to do that would be to go like this with the pen tool and make a triangle. That's the other way to do it. With a triangle. All right, so that's just a review on how to make a triangle. But anyway, I use the circle and use the square. And I can use, according to the instructions, use one or all primitive circle, square, triangle to demonstrate these concepts: asymmetry, dynamic. Symmetry, symmetry, static, static. That's static because it's a line and two dots. That's symmetry. Asymmetry, dynamic. So how does this get to be, how can I make asymmetry dynamic? Well, I'm going to come down here and just use one primitive and say, well, if that is static, that's static. Let me go back here and put that back. I'm going to hold my Option key down, or Alt key. I got the keystrokes for PCs right here, so I can look at them, because I was been only talking about keystrokes as Mac, but some of you are using PCs, so I got to say them both. I remember saying both. Alt, Option, drag. Now I'm making something dynamic. If I want to make it or static, I'm kind of doing the same thing here. Well, I'm going to change that and make it do something else. I can click on here and get, and I can turn that. That is getting more dynamic. If I go and I do the scale change and I turn this is even getting more dynamic. And let's say an Option, Alt, and I make that really small. Now that's not a square anymore. So, but if I'll hold my Shift key down, I can, that'll resize in proportion. Hold the Shift key down, resize in proportion. Now we're talking about, now that's getting more dynamic. Maybe I turn this so it's not, so the angle's different. Maybe I go over here and pull that off the edge. I'm going to go up here and I'm highlight this. I held my Shift key down. I got both of those highlighted. And I'm going to go to Object, because we know how to do this now. Clipping, Map, Mask, Make. Whoops, not right. So what happened here? I'm going to go Object, Arrange, Send back, and see. And then I'm going to go and Shift, and it's the order on this sometimes makes the thing work differently. Well, it does actually. Make, there. Now that worked. So there I got that. Now that's even more dynamic because it's going off the edge. I want to make this stroke. Window, stroke, window, stroke. And the stroke comes up, and I make that 1 point. Oops, I got to highlight it. And let's see if this will work. 1 point, and it does. So there's dynamic. Now I got to go find a dynamic photograph online to make something. And it's got to be, it doesn't have to be illustrate this. It has to be dynamic in itself. So I'm going to go over here and go Google Images. There's more than one place to define this. Go OK. All right, so that looks pretty dynamic. And oh, I mean, we don't really care how the quality of this. It's the concept. So I think I'll just see if I can drag that. I'm going to drop it on the desktop. See if I got it. I'll minimize all of these. There it is. Now I'm going to go, because I didn't ask for this, so you don't have to do it. But I'm going to go over here and open up in Photoshop. And just because it looks better in the presentation, I'm going to go to Image Mode, Grayscale. You don't have to do this. You can just use this directly. Oh, Image Mode, Grayscale, discard. Okay, so I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to come over here to my, where was I? Illustrator. And I'm going to go File, Place, desktop, images, storm, place. All right, it went automatically into the box. Well, I guess I just dropped it on the box. It's not really in the box. So let me go and hold my shift key down, make that picture bigger, and make this even more dynamic by going like that. Now I'm going to hold my shift key down, make it so it fits the image. You wouldn't have to do that for this still to be dynamic, by the way. All right, so now I want to take this. Oh, I'm having a problem with this. I'm going to go and shift, click the corner here. Object, clipping path, make. All right, so I got to go and look to me. I didn't quite read that, but I think I got it arranged to the center at the back. There. I can remove this. Shift, object, clipping path, make. Very dynamic, right? This is at an angle. This is at an angle, and oh, I gotta go and put a stroke on that. Window. Stroke. There's no stroke. I got the stroke somewhere floating around. Somewhere floating around. Oh, right in front of me. Beautiful. All right, so I'm going to go down here and say scale change. Scale change. Dariana, are you getting the gist of this now? Is this
Yeah.
helping? Alejandro, is this helping?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
It's
Rochelle.
just like a little too hard for me to retain all the information, and then I don't when it's time to do it, I don't really know how to do it.
Well, this is being recorded, so you get that.
I mean, this is my first time literally watching an Illustrator, so I don't know.
It isn't it's not unusual that when you're running a piece of software, you kind of struggle in the beginning. It's very predictable. I understand it, and you'll get over it if you take one step at a time. And the video, as it's recording right now, you can scrub that video so you can just stop it in the middle of the question that you have and scrub it back and forth until it's answered, because I'm answering it. Should I do another one, Alejandro?
Yeah, probably.
All right, scale change. Scale change. So I'm going to go and use a primitive, and I'll use a ellipse tool, but I'll make it a circle by holding my shift key down. And I'm going to go scale change. So very simply, scale change is, I'm holding my shift key down to make that circle stay a circle. Is that scale change? This is scale change. Well, I mean, I can be a little more emphatic or dynamic by saying scale change. Simple, there's scale change using a primitive. So I'm going to go back to the images and find what would something scale. I'll just put in scale change and see what I got. Well, that didn't come up with anything. Scale. I spelled the name wrong. Change in nature. scale change. Well, there's scale change very simply right there. So why don't I just use that? That does it. Now I'll go in here, not make it black and white. I'll just pull this in color because I didn't ask it to be black and white. That's it. That's not the goal here is to make it look as best as it can. It's just, the goal is just to demonstrate you understand it. So there is scale change. Now I got to make that so it fits a square. So I'm going to make this bigger, holding my shift key down. And I have to object send that back. I just learned that. That the stroke has to be in the front. Go object arrange, send it back. There's my stroke. And so I want to go and make this so I can see the scale changing really dramatically from big people to little people. Shift, click on, I can select both of those. Oh, it's not there, I got that. Shift, that should be both of them. Object, clipping, mask, make. Scale change, same as this. If I wanted to illustrate it, I could go I'm not asking you to illustrate it, but there, in fact, I'd rather you not, because you're not thinking about the formal aspects of this graphic, these graphic elements, but big, smaller, small, big, smaller, small. Scale change.
That one was a bit easier.
What's that?
Yeah, that one was a bit easier. Let me understand.
That was easier. Static. Do you want me to do another one?
I don't know. Maybe ask someone else.
Well, I'm asking everybody.
I have a
Rochelle.
question.
Yes.
When I downloaded this document, it came out also a little funny. Like it wasn't like a line shape. Were these boxes, like the outlines, were they already there or
No, I made you do them because that's how you understand
Okay,
how to do it.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
empty. This is yours that you handed in.
yeah. Oh, so that blue line, what was that blue line? I thought I just
That's a
had.
guide.
Oh, perfect.
Guides, and it's locked. Unlock guide. That's just showing you the center of the page.
Oh, okay. Thank
There,
you.
I got rid of it. Oh, did I get rid of it? Delete it to get rid of it. That's just showing you the center of the page is all. And you can go view. I'm going to pull that guide back out again. And I'm going to put it at 5.5, 5.5. There's the center of the page. So it's red because it's selected. Now it's blue, it's unselected. View, guides, hide guides. There it's hidden. View, guides, show guides, command, colon, or control colon. So I'm going to do that. Control colon, shows them, hides them. Not so important for this, what our goal is here in this class, but that's just one. There's all kinds of stuff in this software program, and we're not going over it. We're going over this, which is the main part, the heart of the program, which is the pin tool. And all of this stuff is the pin tool, that's just pre-made pin tool shapes. So everything we're going to do here is doing this, and it's right now we're talking about form and the expressive quality of form in itself. In the next thing we're going to do, talk about typography, still using the pen tool and the type tool, but which incorporates the pen tool, and we'll get there on that. But we're really concentrating on the shapes, how to deal with shapes, their how they can express content, and then we're going to move into typography. And of course, when you're dealing with shapes, you want to know how to use this tool possibly, and the Pathfinder tool, that tool, which is all of this, and all of these shapes here. I'm moving along. just are sequentially these. So the top one, add the shape. Oops. I have to, that is a text box. And if I go to my layers and here's the layers and there it says text, your document should have it set up that way. I set it up that way. And I lock that, then I can get to these two tools. Or these two items, squares. You make these yourself and it can be anything you want. Let me get up here so I can select it. Shift. I'm jumping around a little bit. That's all right. Then I go to my Pathfinder, which I have lost. Window, Pathfinder. If I've lost it, I can turn it off. Window, Pathfinder, turn it back on, and I know it's there, it's here, it's over here. All right, so the first one is add to a shape. There, add to a shape. And they just go in, I'm gonna go, and to know what that does, I'm gonna go view, outline, and there you see it's not overlapping shapes, it's added it together. View, preview, and just do these once so you know what it is. And then as you're going along using the software, you can just say, I'm not sure which one I want to use. So I can go click, 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 click down the line and figure it out. Right here, this is minus front. One of these are in front. We'll see which one. Well, the bottom was in front, so that's minus front. So that's really easy. Just going, highlighting them all and clicking them. Anyway, that is, I got waylaid there. But as long as I'm up here, I'll review this again. I think that this, Nick, the reason why your artboards were different numbers is because mine are as well. I shifted them around when I was making this up. I could redo these, but you already have yours aligned this way. Go ahead.
Do them.
Huh?
I could do them. I have a question though. How do you get the bar on the top of your screen where you have like align, the stroke type and everything? Because I don't have that on mine.
Yeah, well, you got to go up to view. See if I can view. I'm gonna find it. Control.
Okay.
There, you see that's gone. It's not there.
Perfect.
View. Control. I gotta find it again.
It's under window.
Oh, on the wrong one. Yeah. All right. So control. So under window is everything you need to have on a screen. Application frame, control, artboards. You don't need color. You can pick that. Layers. You don't need Pathfinder. You don't need properties. You don't need stroke. You can pick that under Windows when you need it. But all of these things are the basic stuff. Application frame, control. Workspace is Essentialist, Essentialist or Essentialist Classic. You got a bunch of other configurations of palettes. And that's it. So when you want to have something else, you go over here and layers. Oh, we got to have layers. And artboard. Layers and artboard. In Pathfinder, you select it right here. This view window, view is like the guides and stuff are down here. We kind of went around that. And that the main thing here is for our purposes is this outline view view using CPU view preview. There, that's the paint, and that's the outline. So that's those preview. Okay. Those are the two things we need to know. We need to be able to toggle back and forth so we can see what we're doing. As long as I'm up here, I'll go do this again because I don't mind doing things over and over again because that's how we learn. We got two rectangles there. Art. That is on the wrong layer. I can't select it. I'm going to take this off and I'm going to go and select that. See, it's on the blue layer, blue, shift, select this. Now I got a both. See that blue line? Well, it's got a blue bar here and a blue square. And if I grab that and drag it up, now it's red. Now I know it's on the right layer, not on the text layer. I can lock that text layer or not. And now I can come up here. Those are both selected. And I can make a selection very easy by just doing my marquee and select it. Object. No. Yes. Object. Compound path. Compound path. I can have a make. There's a compound path. What did that do? View, outline. It made it one object. There, I click on it, it's one object. If I go over here and go to my direct selection tool and click on it, direct selection tool. Oh no, I'm not seeing my anchor points. It's one object. Let me go and do this. My compound path. Compound path. Yeah, compound path. Object. Compound path. Make. Object. Compound path. I don't have a release. So this is something to do with this software on my machine. Let me look at it here. Unless, let me see. It's there. All right. So something's going on with my machine right now. Damn. Because I'm unable to see the anchor points. There's an anchor point, but you see it's gone away. This has happened in the machines in the lab, but we should be able to be seeing these anchor points. So I've got an issue. It's like I got to shut the program down, and I got to open it up. I got to reset the preferences. This is not good, and I don't want to go and do that right now. But this here is one object because it's a compound path. I'm going to go view, preview, and come down here, clipping path. I'm going to try to push through without having to troubleshoot the software right now in terms of demonstration. You see, I can select that, but I cannot. There's anchor points there, but it's not allowing me to get an anchor point here. There it is, but I'm not able to see it. So it's something to do with my software. Sorry about that, but that's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to clipping path, we'll shift. They're both selected, clipping path, make. There. I clip this part of the shape out with this clipping mask, and that is spelled wrong. Clipping mask. So now let's go here and do that again. Object, clipping mask, release. All right, so I've demonstrated this more than once, many times. Let's go down here. Can I get some questions out there? Anybody have any questions?
Could you show an example of just a hierarchy of visual information, or are we not up to that yet?
Well, we're jumping around, so that's fine. I just want to answer the questions. Everybody is understandably confused, and which is, I didn't want to make anybody confused, but I wanted you to think about it before I kind of solve the problems for you. And then solving problems for you just is fine. Hierarchy of visual information. You get rid of that extra space. So this is, it says here, coming up to the instructions, it says establish one 6x6" square, and you've got to do that because you've got a blank page, with a 1-point stroke. Use all three primitives, circle, square, triangle. Create a dynamic composition as clearly articulated hierarchy of visual information. All elements of design can be used, symmetry, asymmetry, and we explored that down here, symmetry, and below it is asymmetry. Three definitions should be evident. This is where the form expresses the content. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not illustrating anything. Dominant, supportive, inconsequential. And cannot, there's something wrong with my computer here. I cannot select this. Look at that. There's a stroke. I cannot select this. Huh. Unbelievable. And I don't have any of my layers locked. So I got to stop. Remember these words. I was going to select them, move them down. Dominant, supportive, inconsequential. I don't want to stop and have to troubleshoot this right now. I want to get through this and do like that. So let's try. If things aren't hard enough, Command minus, Command plus, space, option. Oh, I've got to go down. Let me click down here. See where I'm at. If I click on these artboards, it's like going to the pages. I can go to the page. Visual information. So I got to use a circle, shift, a square, shift, and a triangle. So I got to go to the star tool and go like this. There's by default, it's on the triangle. If I hold my arrow keys, it'll make it star. And I showed you how to, again, I already showed you how to make a triangle using the pen tool, so I won't do it again. So dominant, supportive, inconsequential.
All right, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, but I did it for you. You know what I mean?
Professor,
Yes.
I just had some trouble with that hierarchy one just because I wasn't sure like what the definitions, like how that translated into like the design.
Which okay, so let's you tell me which is dominant.
The circle.
Yeah. You want to make it more dominant? And here I am kind of using an illustrative thing because it's like it's on a pedestal. What is supportive?
The square.
And what is inconsequential?
That's the triangle.
Yes. Everybody got that? That makes sense, Rochelle?
I mean, it makes sense when you do it like that, but like if I tried to create like another, like if I tried to like make my own, I probably wouldn't.
Well, that's why I didn't want to.
I would just do that.
You would just do that? I expect that's what I'm going to get, but that's not what my intention was. I wanted you to try to figure it out. You get my thinking? It's more fun.
Well,
Can you figure out another one?
I was struggling without the definitions, I guess.
All right. Well, you understand them now, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay, Rochelle, tell me something. Say hello.
I think I'm doing much better than before.
Okay.
My head's like a little clearer.
Okay.
So that helps.
All right, good. Alejandro,
Yeah, I'm here trying to work with it.
do you understand what's on the
I
screen?
mean,
right
yeah,
now?
I understood that one. Yeah.
All right. Happy. What's happy? A square, a triangle, or a circle?
Circle.
A circle. Now you guys can't use happy or sad. So I got to go over here and find my circle. And is up happy or down happy?
Up.
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 Is happy many or few?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean what I said, but is happy many? What is more happy, many or few?
Few.
Many.
Many, and I would say many because of the associations many has in my mind, which is many bubbles, many people, many bright spots, right? Instead of few. So I want many. So I'm going to go option, drag, many. Is happy static or dynamic?
Dynamic.
Dynamic. So we don't want a bunch of static, we want a bunch of things that are dynamic. Which would mean, see, this that space between here and the space between here and here is dynamic because this is farther apart than this, right? And would happy be overlapping, bumping into each other, overlapping, or isolated, have space around them? I think overlapping. Now I'm gonna go and I want all these guys to be on its own layer. So I'm going to take it over here and see it's blue. That's blue. I'm going to take that and I'm going to take that square and move it up. And now I'll take that eyeball off. Yes, except for this one. This one here is still blue. So move that up. So it's nice to organize your layers so you're not dealing with the boundary. So now I'm going to click that and I'm going to say, well, that's kind of happy. What is more happy? Is this more happy? Is happy bound inside the box or
I think
not?
outside the box.
Say that?
I think outside the box. and,
Outside the
more-
box. So let's do that. Let's go over here and oh, I got that locked. And object clipping path make. Oops. The rule has to be in front. Now I got to go and move this up on the top layer so I can move it in the object, arrange, bring the front. And depending upon your issue, you got to remember, oh, let me try to juggle these arrangements. There's an arrangement of the objects on, you can see I can open up these layers. Here's all the objects. These are sub layers, all this stuff. It gets confusing, but that's all its stuff. And you can make the arrangement of this on one layer by going to object, arrange, bring the front, send the back, object, arrange, bring the front, bring forward, send backward, send it back. You those to arrange these in order on its own layer, just so you know, because that's how you make this stuff work. There. Now the question is, can I make a, here I've got to go, this got to get it, I want to see if I can add to that clipping path. I can't remember if you can or not. There, yes you can, yay, you can. Okay, so I got to have a stroke. That's pretty happy. You agree with me?
I have a question for this one. So with expressing like the emotion, this one's pretty like subjective and can change from person to person. So
Absolutely,
just our
it should.
interpretation. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But we can discuss it, like I have been discussing it with you. We can discuss and say, is it happier if you do this? All right, so let's go down here. I'm going to take option drag down here. And now, all right, I'm doing sad. So what is sad? Up or down? Down. What is sad? Many or few?
You.
Few. More than one or just one?
I mean, one would like appear to be more sad, I suppose.
All right, so what is sad? Big or small?
Big.
Small.
Okay, it could be either.
Yeah.
Let's make it big. Shift to keep that a circle. Down. What is sad? Is it caught in the square, or does it move around? Nick? Static or dynamic? Sad.
Static.
Static. All right, so I'm going to go, does it stay into the square, or is it so sad it's falling through the floor?
I'd say probably falling through the frame, yeah.
All right, so let's do that. See, these are on two different layers. Let's see what happens on two different layers if I can make a object clipping path make. Wrong. Anyone know what's wrong with this? Why did it go wrong? Why did it do not what I wanted it to do? Grace?
Don't you have to put it behind the outline?
Yeah, that's right. Object, they're on different layers. And I'm going to do this just to see what happens. Object arrange, bring to front. But let's see what's on the front here. That's on the front, and it's on the bottom layer. See if that works. Shift. See, the red is the top layer. Clipping path make. Didn't work. All right, so let's go and let's take the blue, let's put it on the same layer, and let's make sure that object, arrange, bring to front, and hold my shift key down. Now they're both on the same layer, and the box, the rule, is in the front. Object, clipping path, make. Yay. All right, I got to go and put that as stroke again. Stroke 1. And there it is. Happy, sad. Does it work for you, Renata?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, everybody get this? Princess, do you get this?
Yes.
Are you happy? Rochelle, are you happy?
Yeah.
Any other questions on this?
This will be on the YouTube, right?
Yes, I'm recording all of this. Alejandro,
Okay, so,
go ahead, Ryan.
I was gonna ask.
So I did this wrong. When should I get
Next
it done
time.
by?
Everybody, you got a next time. We're not going forward until everybody passes this. Well,
Okay, cool.
I'm not going to say all of us are going to. We're going to go forward, but whomever hasn't completed this, like we go through it like we're going through it, and I say, "Oh, good job," you get a plus. You got to work on this until they finish it, and we'll just go over and over again. Sometimes, I've done this before, other classes. Sometimes you go we're going ahead and different things, but you're still having to some students are having to fix the issues they have. And
Wait,
then,
I have another question.
yes,
It says, didn't you say earlier that if there's an arrow or something, then then you're missing something from us?
well, yeah, I have all these down these arrows in this name folder arrow that points down means there's nothing in your folder. I've got them all open.
Oh, okay.
So there's a
I
whole bunch of
submit
people. Go ahead.
I submit the pair onto the box. Should I have emailed that to you? Or
Yes.
how should I have gotten that to you?
I have sent you this instructions. I'm looking for it again. More than once. Submit all tutorials listed as credit in the syllabus as a
Oh, I see.
PDF file with your name in the title to jhall@mmm.edu. So I'm not looking
Oh,
in the
okay.
box for the tutorials. Submit all projects. We're still on the tutorials as Illustrator files in the class Dropbox because I'm going to go there and look at them, but I'm not going to look at them until I get them as PDF files sent to myself. Everybody understand that? Makina? Yes.
I just want to make sure you got mine. I emailed it to you at the beginning of class.
Oh, beginning of class?
Yeah, this morning. Because I put it in the box last night and then remembered this morning to email it to
Well,
you.
it's a tutorial, so you don't put it in the box.
Right.
It just gets cluttered up. I'm looking for your graded files in the box. All the tutorials and the graded files, a copy gets sent to me. Shape techniques. All right. Let's look at them. See, I got to return. I'm not going to send you a receipt right now. I'll try to remember to do that
No, that's totally fine.
after class. I intend to send everybody a return receipt on all of these projects, tutorials, so you know that you have received them. That's what I intend to do and have done. Okay, so here, you sent this as a Illustrator. Now, I am asking for it as a PDF because in the future,
That one, I don't think that one's mine.
that wasn't yours. Oh, what happened? I still got it open over here, but email. So there, you saw it go across this. There it is, right there. This is in a PDF. So yay, there's the pair. Here, now all of these, you redid this. You didn't use.
Yeah, I made it in my own document because I wasn't sure if you wanted us to like edit that one or so I just made my own.
Okay. Shape builder tool. That looks like a shape builder tool. Is this as well? Right, maybe it is.
I think, yeah, I went through and like cut it and that was all like, the darker one was one shape and I like split it up.
Okay, good. And here's all the Pathfinder stuff, right?
Yes.
Compound path. Can you explain that one?
Yeah, so you had to like, I made the 3 circles and then you had to go through and make it, instead of them each being individual, you make it a compound path and then you can move it all just as one, like one shape.
But it isn't overlapping. right?
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll go over here. I'm just trying to understand what you did. Let's fill that with something. You made 3 circles.
Mm-hmm.
Get up closer on this. Those are not really circles, but that's all right. And then you selected it like this.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta unselect that. Those are selected. Object, compound path, make. So that would mean, and maybe my computer can't do this because something's wrong with it. That means, oh, so those are, see, I grab that and they move around all together.
Yep.
All right, great. I was envisioning the overlap, but that's great. Good deal. Clipping mask. I can recognize the clipping mask. Symmetry static. Okay, that's symmetry static, and this is not a, oh, I've got to get, give me a second, because I'm going to have to make, I said I was going to make notes and send it to people.
Yeah, you're fine. I think I also realized after looking at like the ones we've looked at today that I was manipulating the shapes to be more exactly like the picture instead of just doing like the
Yeah,
shapes
you're
itself.
kind of illustrating the shapes.
Right.
But the problem is that the instructions say that this is to be a using primitives.
Yeah, so I only used the shapes. I just then manipulated them instead of leaving them as just a circle. So I understand that like I need to go back and just leave it as the shape itself, if that makes sense.
Use one or all elements of design. Give me a second here, because I can't. Again, my illustrator is sick today. I don't know if I have to go to IT to get it so I can see it, but I will. I got to type it on. Give me a second. So you understand that this is supposed to be primitives.
Yes.
All right. See, I just made a note of that.
Okay. Perfect.
Just so I can. I got a lot of windows open right now trying to coordinate all of this. So and I can't copy and paste elements of design. My InDesign works fine. All right, I'll get that. Okay, so I noted that. So you understand symmetry static, this has got to be primitive. Tell me what primitives are.
The shapes like a circle, square, and triangle.
Yeah. All right, same here. And you don't have these are not 3 by 3, 3 by 3, 3 by 3 squares, right?
I thought they were, but I maybe have my dimensions wrong.
Well, this
picture.
is, but that's not.
Okay.
And I showed you how to put that in the 3 by 3 square and do a clipping mask. That's on the video.
Okay.
All right. Scale change. All right, you understand that this is not primitives, and you're not doing the concept, you're just illustrating the mountains.
Yeah.
Same here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Static pattern. Okay. So I don't have to go and explain that over and over again, right? You get it.
Yes, I understand.
You understand. This is dynamic because of the scale change, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually quite dynamic repetition. Yeah, well, that's repetition. Okay, so it just got to be primitives. Okay, so you're going to redo that. Hierarchy of visual information. Dominant, supportive, inconsequential. Can you point out which is dominant?
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
The triangle is dominant.
Okay, does everybody buy that? What is supportive?
The circles on the bottom.
Yep, that I would say that. So what is inconsequential?
The squares on the side.
Really? I question that.
Yeah, you said like in another example that the triangle was so
Well, it doesn't have to, it's not the shape itself, it's the relationship between shape.
right.
That's what we're talking about here. Hierarchy of visual, the relationship between shapes. So I would say that the triangle looks like it's in front and the squares looks like it's in back, and the triangle looks like it's suppressing the squares behind it, which they are engaged with one another. So the triangles or the squares or rectangles, and it's not a primitive, it's a triangle or not a square, but the rectangles are engaged in suppressed, but they're not inconsequential. Does that make sense?
Yes, they need to just be not attached.
Well, they can't be engaged with the dominant or the supportive. They got to be like it's unnecessary that they be there, right? So what's happening here? This is like just a conceptual game in a sense, but it's assigning meaning to form, and that's what designers do, or illustrators do the same thing with a more psychological bent. But we're really trying to just assign formal meaning to form. And that's what the thought process is here. It's not necessarily about good design, that comes later, but it's about what the meaning that is evoked from the relationships and scale of form to within a frame, within a format. So that's where I'm going with this, everybody. So we go on. Organized, not a primitive, but yes, organized. If those were circles, I'd say yes, organized. Or squares or something, organized. Could they be more organized? Probably not. But that's like, yay, organized, confused. All right, that's confused. Bring primitives in. And I would suggest here that they'd be more confused if they weren't trapped within this square, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'd also be more confused if some of them were not overlapping, because they're because of the contrast. Some overlap, some don't. That is more confused than everything overlaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody get how am I thinking here? It's really reading the form, and so this is about looking very hard at something and making a decision of what the form is saying. And you're guided by the word confused, so to assign that. Questions, comments, anybody? Everybody with me? Anybody not with me? Drew, are you here today? Hello, Drew. Hello, Devin.
Hey, Professor.
Hi. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, but you already answered them. I was a little confused about the static design. I couldn't find, everything I Googled wasn't quite giving me a definition for static design. So I left that one blank, but I did the rest of them. I did the hierarchy of visual information wrong, but now I understand what I was supposed to do.
Okay, good. You haven't handed it in.
I haven't oh yeah, I didn't email it to you. I put it in the
All right,
box. But I did the same thing with the tutorial, so I'll email them both to you now.
Okay, so you might want to check it against the video before you email it. You know what I mean? Make sure it's right. You got the ideas right.
Okay.
Makina, do you have any questions?
I don't
Are you
think so.
good?
What I need to work on yet.
Okay, I've got some. Just to remind you, I will send you these tips.
Perfect.
I got to spell primitives right. 3x3 inch box, just so you can go in.
And once you revise it and stuff, do you want us to just email it to you again?
When you revise it, yes. And then I'll give you a plus unless I see something that needs to be addressed again, and then we'll go back to it. So we're done with this. And Grace, you ready?
Yeah.
What Acrobat. All right, pair, yay. Shape builder tool. Do you understand the shape builder tool?
Yeah.
You did all that. Compound path, yes. Clipping path, I know how that works, right?
Yes.
Okay, primitives.
Yeah, well, I thought we could overlap them. So I used all the primitives like the perfect square and circle, but I just overlapped them because I thought we had to like exactly recreate the picture of nature.
No, well, again, I'm trying to get you to think of form I stipulated primitives so you couldn't recreate an illustration of nature. You would have to think about the concept through primitives. That makes sense?
Yeah. So
you're not, the idea is to not recreate the photograph, but to use the concept, symmetry, with the primitives, circle, square, I'm looking for my elements. Use one or all primitives, circle, square, triangle. Elements of design. Use one or all primitives, circle, square, triangle. So now I'm typing this note.
when I resubmit it, should I just separate the shapes from each other so you can see it clearly?
Or more not. No, you can if you like what you did, you can prove to me that this is a primitive. That'd be a circle. This would be a circle.
Yeah. Well, on the
and that'd have to be a triangle, right?
I used a square and then I put the circle. So half of the circle was in the square and half of it was outside of the square.
Okay, you followed instructions, so that's just fine. You just got to convince me that they use primitives. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's just fine. Now the primitives, as I stipulated, they're circle, square, or triangle. That right there, those are rectangles.
Well, I layered tiny squares
Oh,
on
you're
top of each
good,
other.
Grace. You're
No, I did. I'm serious.
You're serious?
Yeah, like if
I
I open
understand that.
Adobe
I mean,
Illustrator.
okay, you're saying that these here. Let me get this close. You're saying that these are a bunch of little squares touching each other.
Yeah, if I open Adobe Illustrator, it'll show that they're squares.
Okay, I believe it. If you can think this through and convince me, then it's just great. I'm just fine with it. Everybody, you get it? She's convinced me that these are two squares touching each other. And so you're making an illustration using the primitives, right?
Yeah.
All right. And you've got to say you've done the same thing here.
Yeah, I did it with all of them.
You did it with all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a giraffe first, primitive second, right?
Yeah.
This is a circle first and a circle second, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a beehive and a what is it called? Hexagram?
Yeah.
Is that,
hexagon.
do you agree with me?
Mm-hmm.
So the beehive is first. That's your first reference point. See, we're reading these forms. And the, what is this? A
Hexagon, I think.
hexagon, thank you. I lost the word. The hexagon second. Is that clear?
Yes.
You agree with me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this over and over again because I like to say it over and over again because then people really understand. These are, I'm reading the form here, literally. It's a circle. And then it's still a circle, but it's also a static pattern. It's a static pattern of circles. It's not a scale change of giraffes made up of circles and squares, right? So you put the illustrative quality of giraffe in front of the circles and squares, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Now, if you understand that, it's perfectly fine because you understand the concept that I'm getting at. But the reverse of that is what I intended, which is this static pattern. So let's go to here. Dynamic repetition. All right, this is dynamic repetition because the change of scales and also because it's overlap. You agree, Grace? You're with me?
Yeah.
Dynamic repetition. Okay. Emphasis of negative space. So what is the negative space here?
It's the black, or in the image, it's the leaves of the trees.
What if, Dariana, what do you think the negative space here is? On number 6, emphasis of negative space.
I think the negative space is the sky, the little white.
Drew, are you back, Drew? No. Alejandro, what do you think the negative space is here?
The negative space.
Yeah.
I don't know, the black holes, like the black.
Mark, on a photograph.
Oh, then definitely like the tree, but not the leaf.
The tree trunk, like?
Yeah, the tree trunk. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we got to ask somebody else. Princess, what do you think the negative space is here? I'm doing a survey.
I think it's the black.
The black?
Yeah, or
That's what I
for
meant.
the black trees for the primitive shapes.
Well, I'm looking at the photograph of trees on this.
Okay. So it would be the trees, like the entire tree, the leaves and the wood.
Okay, I'm not getting what I was hoping to get, and so somebody agrees with me that I think the negative space is the white shape of the sky, and a positive space is the tree, and this is really when we're this negative space, positive space issue or consideration is very subjective. I think most people say it's the tree, and I think that's the positive space. So let's go over here to number 6, emphasis of negative space. Grace, what did you say the negative space was on the photograph?
To me, I think it's the trees,
And what is it over here?
the black
The
circles
black.
and squares.
What is most dominant here? The blackness of the graphic or the whiteness of the graphic?
The black of the
All right,
graphic.
so would not that be then the positive space? Because the most dominant is the positive. The most dominant is a positive space, and the least dominant is the negative space.
Well, I guess for the other one, when it's the emphasis of the positive space, there's more white, and so then I thought the negative space would mean it's more black.
Okay, I accept your argument. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but it is like a psychological interpretation. I think, and that doesn't mean I'm right. It's just my opinion that the negative space here is because I see this pattern of sky first, emphasis on negative space. Everybody else is seeing the trees, and over here, emphasis on negative space. I'm seeing this shape first because it looks like it's a shape on top of the black cut out. So that's how I am seeing it. But again, I'm just looking at shapes, and when I look over here on a tree, I'm not thinking trees. I'm thinking shapes. So there's a kind of a point of view that is a artist designer's point of view where you consider the form positive, negative at the same time, or even before you consider what it is expressing, trees. Does that make sense? I hope.
Yeah.
Emphasis of positive space. And what's more important here is not that we agree, everybody agrees, but we have the discussion. So you're thinking of the idea of positive space in terms of nature and in terms of primitives. And I could suppose this is a triangle, right? It's an elongated triangle.
Yeah, I didn't know that for the triangles we had to keep them.
Well,
I thought we could manipulate
I didn't
them.
say that either. I didn't say so. Indeed, you don't. This needs to be a triangle. Square, circle, triangle. Again, I'm trying to use these primitives, square, circle, triangle. So you're not thinking about trees. You're thinking about shapes. Grace, you understand that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I thought when we had the assignment, we had to mimic the picture exactly.
You've got to mimic the words.
Yeah.
Positive space, positive space. This is not wrong because you use primitives, but you've also, again, added the association to illustration. So there's a narrative here, which if it's just a triangle, it's just a triangle that expresses positive space. Grace, does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand that now.
Do you consider yourself an illustrator?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Because that's what you're doing here. You're illustrating. Transformation of a primitive by overlap and scale change. Well, explain this. What's overlap and scale change here?
Well, I took the triangle and then
No, I'm talking about the photograph. Overlap and scale change.
Well, I guess the branches overlap and then get smaller as they go towards the top.
Okay, you explained it. As long as you can explain it. So then on the graphic on the right, those are overlapping triangles in scale change?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you proved it. Hierarchy of visual information. Oh, you are an illustrator.
Well, I was really confused by this one. So now that you've reviewed it, I know how to change it.
You use one or more primitives. Well, I was going to do this. I'm over here giving you notes, elements. And you've proved to me that I don't have to give that note. So this is hierarchy of visual information. Give me 1 second. So explain to me what you're gonna, what, do you have a, do you want to say anything about this?
Yeah, well, I guess when I, before class, I thought like the trees or the triangles were the dominant shape, and then the circles of the snowman were supportive, and then the snowflakes were inconsequential.
Do you hold that now, or do you think it's not true?
I mean, I think, yeah, I guess I still hold it now, but I know how to redo it based off of how you taught it in class today.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand this, the way that you presented it. The triangles here are dominant, right?
Yeah.
And the circles and multi-squares are
Right.
supportive,
Yeah.
visually supportive. Now that's kind of questionable because how are they supporting the triangles?
Well, the circles aren't supporting the triangles. I guess to me, I thought that the circles were supporting each other to make the body of the snowman, and then ultimately supporting the squares that made the hat.
All right. The circles are supporting the hat, or let's say it with how I'm trying to get you to think about it. The circles are supporting the squares.
Yeah.
And those squares are not dominant. The trees are dominating the squares.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I agree with you. The circles are supporting the squares.
Mm,
And visually, the triangles are dominating the circles and squares.
mhm.
We could all agree with that, right? Grace?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. It's a little arcane or a stretch, but it does make sense, right?
Right.
Does everybody follow this train of thought? If you're not, ask a question. Rochelle, how are you doing?
I'm good.
You're good. So then the snowflakes are inconsequential. Oh, I caught myself. I got to catch myself. Said it wrong. So the little squares are inconsequential.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to get to see the form first when we're using the form to make a psychological memory of iconic imagery that associates to reference.
I understand that now.
You understand that? Well,
Yeah.
this is a very good approach to explain it. So this is not wrong. In fact, you have explained how it is formally fulfilling the question that, or the, you know, the problem or the directions. You have explained that. We dissected it, deconstructed it. And indeed, this is what a good illustrator can do, is understand the form first, and that enables them to make a dynamic or effective or strong illustration, because they're examining the formal elements like positive space, negative space, scale change. All these elements make up any good illustration. And if you have a foundation in thinking about the shapes before what they are expressing or linking to your memory, because that's really what it is. You kind of remember because you have these past impressions of what a snowman looks like or what a tree looks like. And you bring those to the current image we're talking with. So that said, Grace, if you want to resubmit this, fine, but I'm not going to send you a comments on that because we've talked about it, and I think that you have proved your point. What do you?
Okay.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments on this? Renata, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you getting everything here?
Yeah, I'm just working on my laptop and like have you on my desktop. So
okay, that's good. That's good. I'm just trying. I got to have some feedback, or else I feel like I just need some assurances that we're making some logic. I'm making logic. We're communicating what is the content of this these issues. Succeed. Oppositional expression. Succeed.
Yeah, with this one, I didn't realize they had to be emotions.
Emotions?
I thought they had to be, well.
They don't. I just said opposites.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what's the primitives here? I know. Overlapping squares.
Yeah.
All right. So you're referencing an iconic symbol, right?
Yeah.
So it expresses success by first referencing the stock market graph. Second, the form of squares.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to know right here, how are those two squares? That's impossible.
Well, because I made like different lines of squares and then just matched them up. So they overlap.
Overlap, okay, you're
yeah,
right.
They're like different sizes.
I can see that works. You did it. Yay, you did it. All right. So you did it. Congratulations, Grace. Any comments, anybody? She worked through all these elements and defended them and convinced me that all of these follow the instructions. Grace would have been much easier if you didn't have to try to do illustrations at the same time.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Well, that's all right. You're able to explain it all. So, so you got it. Good for you. That means that you need to go to the next tutorial. But you're the only one. Let's go. Except we haven't seen Joseph. Joseph, are you there?
Yep.
All right. You ready? Did you look at yours?
Have we looked at mine?
Yeah.
No.
No. All right. Let's look at it. Okay. you're missing the cover pair, right?
Yeah, I didn't guess I didn't realize that we had to put the pair there.
All right, well, now you do. Is that the shape builder tool?
Yes.
You know how to use a shape builder tool?
Yes.
So this should all be one
Yeah.
one form, right?
Yeah, it's just one shape.
Okay. All right. These are Pathfinder tools. Looking good. Compound path, clipping mask, exclude. All right. You redid this as well, right?
I redid it?
I mean, you didn't use my files.
Yeah, I redid them. I just used the squares.
Do you know how to align these so they are
Well,
aligned?
I ended up just retyping everything into its own text box.
Okay.
Just
I wanna go and demonstrate something because they're just an organization idea. Let me get up here. Oops. Oh, if my Illustrator will work. Well, I got all of these things. Thrown around, scattered around the page. This is maybe enough. If I select this and I go up to, this is new. Just because you did this and you kind of didn't see, I made everything in straight lines, so it was kind of like on a grid. And I go to a line. See the Pathfinder here? I go to a line. Let me pull that off. Float it. And I got all that selected. And I can align all those objects to the right, like that. I can center them, like that. I can align them to the left. Oh, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. Or distribute them like this. Distribute them and align them center. Command Z. Distribute spacing. Just so you know where how all this works, you have that option. So you could have used this align or everybody. That's just something new. It's nice to know it's there. It's right with the Pathfinder. So you could have aligned all of this stuff up. No worries. I just wanted to show you that. Okay, so symmetry static. Yes. Symmetry static. Symmetry static. Well, it could have been more static if they were larger and touching each other. So they're tight instead of floating around. Joseph, do you understand?
Yeah.
Because they're kind of floating in space here. So it's not really as static as it could be. You're missing rules.
Missing what?
Strokes. Around symmetry static photos.
Okay. Yeah.
The video here shows how to do that.
It's like underneath. I just put the photo. It's just covering it.
Well, you could stroke the box. Well, yeah, I can see a little bit, but it's not shown here. And all of this is about being perfect in terms of design. It's about really making things as perfect as you probably can. So you could make it that a little better by making a clipping mask around the photograph and stroking the clipping mask. I did it. I demonstrated a couple times. Symmetry, asymmetry, dynamic. Well, that's actually symmetrical because it's sitting right in the center of the square. See it?
That's symmetrical?
Well, if I was to draw a line like my cursor is going, everything is evenly dispersed along that axis, right in the center. If I move the whole thing over a little bit, it'd be asymmetrical. The symmetry of this square is there's a center in it. If I could draw a line, I would. You see where this is right at the center axis of the square?
Yeah, I just thought because they were varying shapes, so it wouldn't be like a mirror image.
Okay, that's a good argument, but
I just thought the symmetry was like, yeah, like I was thinking of it as like a mirror image.
But asymmetry is off center. If
Okay.
I move everything over like a quarter of an inch, then it'd be asymmetrical dynamic. See, here's what you're not considering, I don't think, is that these shapes are in relation to the frame. That's why I'm trying to emphasize frames on all of these squares. These shapes are in the beginning, in their first condition, are in relationship to this square. Without these shapes, you got a square. So your first formal element is a square with empty space in the middle. So when I put these shapes in, it's in relationship to the square. There, I said it 3 times. So you're considering these shapes in relationship to each other in terms of a mirror, which there's an axis that goes right like that, but they're not in relationship to that, which would be what is asymmetry in relationship to the square. That would mean that to be more asymmetrical, it'd be moved to the left or the right. So it'd be, because your first condition is the symmetry of the square, and you have to make it asymmetrical. A lot of words. Did you make sense of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I wasn't thinking of the frame as part of the design.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that, because that's how I read it. And so you understand that. Scale change. All right, there's scale change. There's scale change. Perfect. This is not a tree, it's scale change. That's where I was intending. Although I'm not against making illustrations, I'm just trying to break it down to its most fundamental, because hey, this is graphic design 1, and we're talking about all this fundamental stuff. And then when we get through all this, then we get to apply these concepts to actually make things that are more applicable to content. Static pattern, perfect. Dynamic repetition. Dynamic repetition. How are these primitives?
Well, I didn't realize that a rectangle wasn't primitive.
Well, I understand that you wouldn't realize it except for I defined it.
Yeah, I guess I was just thinking that we were allowed to morph.
No.
Transform the primitives into different sizes.
Unless you can explain it like Grace, no. And the reason is
I'll explain it like Grace.
Yeah, you didn't do that. I'm not buying it. And the reason is that I'm trying to get you to think the form first. So I'm trying to limit you so you cannot be thinking of, or it's very difficult to think of like
I just didn't realize what we had liberties with and what we didn't.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain why.
Okay.
And the reason why is that I'm trying to break down the conceptual or the thinking process to its most fundamental application, which is not, so
it really didn't have to have much relation to the nature picture.
No, not at all. The relationship is to the idea of scale change. That's all it's related. It's relating to that, and it's relating to the square.
Okay.
3-inch square. Use a circle, square, triangle as the instructions. So this is a rectangle, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get you to I'm trying to limit your opportunities so that you are only considering the primitives, and their basic shape, circle, square, triangle, in relation to the direction, which is scale change, not in relation to what it's illustrating.
I understand now.
You understand? And these are three the consistent 3 by 3 inch squares. These are different sizes, right?
Oh yeah, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll make it consistent. According to the directions, 3 by 3. So this is
So if I just made those squares, it'd be
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I guess I was trying to mimic it too much.
I know. I'm as Grace has pointed out, one can illustrate it, but that's not my intention. But I'll take it I'll accept it if you understand my intention. That's the most important thing. And I'm trying to get you to think of dynamic repetition in terms of the expression of that with one of the primitives. So it isn't the primitive itself, it's a relationship between each other and the square expressing dynamic repetition. We're all getting this now, right? Joseph,
Yes.
You're the point man.
Yeah.
All right. So here we got this negative space. What is the negative space on the photograph?
The negative space on the photograph is the sky.
I'd agree with you. Negative space on the graphic.
It's the white.
Okay. Positive space in the photograph
is the landscape.
That's a positive space.
I would say yes. This is the triangle looking, the cutout.
That's the white is a positive space.
Yeah.
And the negative space is a black.
Uh-huh.
Can I get a second on that, somebody? Do you agree? Does anybody agree with Joseph out there? Nobody agrees with you.
I agree with him because in this case, technically positive space is usually the foreground, but in this case, the positive space is the landscape because it's like what your attention is brought to, like most, like in the first case or like at the first glance. So yeah, I would agree that that's like the positive space, even though it does kind of contradict the definition.
Okay, great. Great explanation. I'll take that. Do you agree, Joseph?
Yes.
Okay.
Ditto.
Transformation of primitive by overlap and scale change. This is a nice primitive here you got going on there. That's doing exactly what I'm getting at. We understand that now, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Transformation of primitive by overlap and scale change. Primitive, overlap. Right. They look like they're the same. That circle is the same scale as this. Overlap. We're reading. This is interesting as an aside, because of this. This is all black, but doesn't read like one shape. It reads like there's a black circle on a black background. That's a nice thing to know about how your mind connects form by saying, oh, this is a circle, black circle on a black background with a white shape. That's an aside from what we're trying to do here. So this primitive by overlap and scale change, I agree with everything but the scale change.
Okay, so I would just have to make the black circle a bit smaller.
That would do it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm making notes just to remind you on this.
Thank you.
But I'm not going to go and try to make full sentences because you can refer to the video. Oh,
So I didn't do that one, but now I understand the concept.
okay. All right, so the instructions on this is all shapes are filled with black, no strokes. I gotta I had to go back and look at instructions. I'm trying to get you to think of like specific things and not get distracted by. So they're supposed to be black shapes, not get distracted by this kind of relationship, etc. Harmony. How's that harmonious?
Because they're two circles working together.
Okay.
I did that sort of stroke because I didn't want one circle to dominate the other.
Okay, but that's against the instructions. They got to be filled shapes. You're looking at instructions. So harmony, that would work. Your idea would work. I'm agreeing with your logic, but these have to be black shapes. But if you were to make this in a circle that was connected,
okay,
it'd do it, right? It's the same idea, but it is a little more expressive or articulated if harmony, overlap, connected. Does that make sense?
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't get what you're saying.
What if this? Okay. Oh, I hate to do it, but I'm going to do it because I hate to do it because then I'm giving you the answer, and the reason everybody was confused is in the beginning of this, and we went through this, which is just fine, is that I didn't want to give you these answers. I didn't want to do it. I wanted you to do it. So let's go and
oh, you mean like a circle of circles?
yeah.
Okay. I
Does
get
that make sense?
Yeah,
If that connects.
I get it now. Yeah.
Yeah. If this connects on the other side, and by the way, I could go and take that. Oh, wait a minute. I got my layers thing going on.
Or even if they made like a square, like any shape.
Any shape that connected, but I would say that harmony is probably friendlier than a square. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A square has sharp edges and is not, harmony is friendly and soft, right?
Yeah.
Friendly and soft is a square, or not on a square, a circle. A square is hard and solid and cold. Object, transform, object. I'm just throwing this in to show you something else. Reflect, copy, shift arrows there. I just threw that in to show you. You have, and I'll just point out again. Object, transform. You have all of these things you could do. Reflect, and then you could copy it. Just to show you. So, does that give you a suggestion on this?
Yes.
All right. chaos. Oh, again, remember, it's got to be solid. Chaos. All right. So this is chaotic if they were primitives, right?
Yeah.
Overlap, scale change, and it'd be more chaotic if it probably they got out of the box.
Yeah, I didn't realize we could do that.
Well, it says it in the instructions. Here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show everybody.
It says that we can go outside the frame.
Yes.
Oh, I missed that.
Well, let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's in your instructions. I want to point that out to everybody. I want to find it in oh, give me a minute. Student shape techniques. In the instructions, I really made it literally clear right here. You may overlap your primitive. There's an overlap primitive. Change scale, change orientation, twisted it. Overlap the edge of the 6-inch square, right? Joseph?
Yeah, I guess because of that picture, it doesn't go outside. That's why.
This goes outside.
I know, but you can't see it.
No, because it's outside. It get the square, the rule knocks it off, and it's outside of it, but the rule is holding the rest of it, so you can't see it, right? But that's not a primitive anymore because it's been cut off here. It overlaps. Everybody, you can do that. And look to your instruction because you can do all of this stuff. Just this to make this. Oops. I lost you. Oh, here it is. Make this composition chaos. And I suppose that if they weren't, some of them were floating, that might be chaotic because it would be in contrast to the overlap. Are you with me, Joseph?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other issues? Anything else you want to say?
No.
Are you all right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like with the instructions, I need it like I guess I was just confused.
That's
I needed
all right.
it a little bit more.
Because everybody.
I needed the instructions to like hold my hand.
They're there. I think what you did is, yeah, well, go refer to them. There they are in this document. That's that. That's good. I mean, that's fine. No problems. Everybody that had problems, I think we've solved them. We have any other questions, issues? Anybody out there? Alejandro, how you doing there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here trying to complete this, but
Well,
yeah, I'm working on it.
when you're looking at the video, you got any questions right now?
No, not right now.
Not right now. Does anybody have any questions right now?
I have a question. So before next time, should we work on this project or move on to the next project? Are we just kind of workshopping and taking what we talked about today and
Or by when
it...
it's gonna be due, right? Yeah, this one.
Well, let's go look at the syllabus. The day is the 16th. We are.
I mean, I think only 2 people in the class got everything all right.
Only one.
That's what I'm saying.
See, it's due the 16th, but what does it say here? Oh. All graded projects may be revised and submitted last week of class. Well, this is a tutorial, it's not a project. Okay, I've got to, students are responsible for completing all projects on time, but this is a tutorial, as it says right here, tutorial. And these are the projects.
But this was project 1.
Well, it's, yeah, this project 1 is for credit. It's not for a grade. The next one is for credit. It's not for a grade because I'm making everybody get them perfect because we're going over them. So I want you to get this credit, which is a plus. And I have to make this a little clearer. And because I'm going to, as it says here, all graded projects may be revised and resubmitted the last week of class for consideration for better grade. So this really isn't due until, none of this stuff here is due until the last week of class. If you don't get them according to this, if you don't get these in on time, I'm going to submit the projects done or not done, and I'm going to give you a grade. And at the end of the class, if you finish them, you'll get a opportunity to get a better grade. Late project will receive a reduction of 1 grade. You know something? I'm going to send this to you, and I'm going to eliminate that. But so that you can get. I'm going to require you to submit your projects on time. Give you a grade, and then you can revise it and get a better grade, resubmit at the end of the semester. It says that there. Now that right there, project 4, coming up here, I should say this should be tutorial. So it doesn't get confused with the word project. So I'm going to send everybody this as well to remind. If you've got any questions on this, I'm trying to make it so we can go forward, and at the same time, if you're like having a problem, you can keep revising so that you get the thing done by the end of the semester. Now, if we can't get past, we need to get past these two right now at the beginning of the semester, because all this information that we're going through is expressed creatively in these projects. So these techniques, this formal thinking. So I'm trying to get these 2 done first before I go to here. And the syllabus sets that up. And if we're on time, this would be tutorial 1 is due today. Well, we didn't make it. Okay, no problem. You have until the end of the semester to finish it, but let's submit it next week. And we have to review it. Everybody's just like we did today.
That makes more sense.
Okay, good. I'm trying to make it make sense. And this is tutorial 2. Just for credit, not a grade. And we're going to get credit again because I'm going to step you through it like I did today to make sure everybody understands it, and you just have to execute it and explain to me that you indeed understand it, like Grace did. Well, like everybody did. We got any more questions going on out here?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you take a look at mine and see me and tell me what I have to fix, or like what I need to work on?
Did you hand it in?
I did. I emailed it to you.
Just now?
You responded.
Is it?
No.
All I have is your pair. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, you told me you received it in the email. I can share my screen if you want. Oh, actually.
Well, yeah, do that, because I don't have it. I don't know, that could be a mistake, but that's why I got all this backup stuff going on. So if I make a mistake, you
Okay.
correct me. So let me share the screen, and we'll go through, not me, but you will go through it. So I'm going to go over here, and this is good. So you get to go through it.
Okay.
Now you can be the host.
Okay. 1 sec. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So you did the shape builder tool. You got any issues with that?
No.
Okay. And it looks like you did all the Pathfinder tools and a compound path and a clipping mask. I can see how that looks, if that works,
I
right?
actually had a question for the divide and the trim. So I would do the divide button and nothing would really happen. So like I would click divide and there would be nothing happening.
Okay, go to the outline. And get up close, select it and get up and look at it. Divide. You see those extra anchor points?
Uh-huh.
It's one object. It divided it into one object and then linked it. And it got two extra anchor points going on or more. You see
Okay,
it?
so it's divided.
Yes, it's divided. That's what it does.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Should I put it back to
Yeah.
CPU?
Preview.
Okay.
No, preview.
Oh, preview.
All right. So you got a primitive issue, right?
Well, I now know that this should be like circles, right?
Yes. Hold your shift
Okay.
key down, it'll become circles.
Shift. So you're saying hold the shift? It doesn't do anything.
Well, if you make a circle, yeah, with the shift key held down, it'll be a perfect circle.
Okay.
If you make a circle with the shift, or a square with the shift key, it'll be a perfect circle. All right, so see that? Perfect
Like
circle.
that? Yeah. Okay, got it.
It's got to be it's got to be filled.
Oops. Okay. And then same thing for these. I got to make sure there's the circles are perfect, right?
Yeah, well, a circle, square, or triangle, they got to be primitives
Okay.
as defined by the directions. Okay, we're going too fast. Scroll back up.
Okay.
Keep scrolling back up. The cow there, the graphic circles is not symmetrical as it is stated right there. It's off center. Symmetry means
Okay.
like a mirror shape. Yeah, all right, so you got the idea. Let's go down to the next one. Asymmetry. Well, that is the asymmetry of the tree. The graphic asymmetry is just asymmetrical. It's not like the photograph, which is more asymmetrical. You understand? It could be moved more. The sphere and could be moved more to the right, should be a primitive.
Okay.
That'd be like the picture, asymmetric.
Got it. Okay.
And now take that oblong, twist that.
This right here?
No, the other kind of rectangles around, go to the corner of it and turn it. Oh, you got to be in your direct selection tool, the black arrow. Now turn it. If you there,
mean like
that
rotate it or what?
like that.
Okay.
Now that's even more asymmetrical, because I'm looking at the square rectangle in relation to the square rectangle. You see how it's moving? It's more dynamic because it looks like it's moving, right?
Yeah.
Okay, those got to be primitives, not a round rectangle. You know what I mean? But okay, now that is more dynamic because it's not vertical. It looks like it has movement. That's the concept we're trying to get at, right?
Okay.
All right, scale change. All right, you gotta, it's like the trees, scale change, big circle, small circle. That's the concept, right? Static pattern. Now, if you're using the entire square of the graphic, that the pattern would probably go edge to edge. And that pattern that you made is not static because there's a bunch of overlap going on. I'm looking at the black squares.
Here, right here?
Yeah, there's a bunch of overlap going on. But right in the center is static.
Oh, okay. So I got to make all the circles
static.
even.
The rest of the stuff is not static because there's a bunch of overlap going on and randomness.
Okay. It has to be even, right?
Should, if you want it to be static, yes. And it has to be a pattern that has to repeat, right?
Got it. Yes. Okay.
Dynamic repetition. All right. So the graphic of number 5, when they become primitives, you'll have expressed dynamic repetition. They got to be consistent. A consistent square or circle of the same size is a consistent. I got to say this. Go slower, Jim. Okay, consistent circle of repetition that where if you used a scale change, that would be dynamic. Dynamic repetition, scale change of a primitive would make it dynamic. If they were all the same, it'd be static. So we want to make that dynamic. If you used a rectangle or a square and turned the square on an angle and made the scale change of between big square, little square, and made a pattern out of it at an angle, so it wasn't paralleling the vertical and horizontal axis, that'd be dynamic. Make sense?
Yeah.
You follow me? It's a lot of words. All right, emphasis of negative space. So on a photograph, the negative space is what?
It's the background.
What color? Give me a color.
Black.
Okay, black. That looks to be the background. You're assuming that I know what the background is if you don't identify it. So emphasis of negative space, of course, those got to be primitives, is the black. Emphasis of positive space. On the photograph, what is the positive space?
I think it's the black.
Okay, we agree with that. All right, transformation of overlap. Okay, those got to be, it's not the primitives that don't have a stroke on them and they're filled with black. That's the instructions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would work. And it doesn't have a white stroke.
Okay. Got it.
By overlap and scale change. And those are all triangles. All right, so I'll take that, even though the triangles are not the same triangle, they're triangles. So let's go see the next one. Hierarchic visual information. Scroll down. All right, we got to do this with primitives, not houses. Right?
Okay.
We talked through
I
that.
mean,
You followed my logic.
yeah,
It was my logic. It was
yeah.
our logic. You're making
I
houses.
used, well, didn't I use primitives? Because I have a triangle and
That's
a
not a square.
square,
Those are rectangles.
rectangle. Okay, got it.
It's just defined by how I defined it. But indeed, you did with what you did, like the triangle and the circle. So what is the dominant?
The big house.
What's the supportive?
I did the small houses as supportive, but I don't know if that really means supportive.
How are they supportive? They're just sitting there.
Yeah. I just kind of put it like it's by its side or something. I don't know. But I'll
Well,
fix it. I'll do something different.
okay. And the
And then
the other word, non, I can't even remember the word. That's that.
I
Okay.
did that as the moon.
Well, it's a circle. Let's try to think of these
Yeah.
form first. Then they
Okay,
can
got it.
become something of your memory when you associate meaning to the form. You understand my
Okay.
angle here? I'm trying to get you to think of the form first, because
Yeah.
meanings is a personal opinion you bring to things. If you know, in another, I don't know, culture, world, that circle wouldn't be a moon. It'd be, because there's no moons in the sky. It's only because of your memory do you make that a moon, or even a house. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're first triangles, circles, and squares. Their first positive, negative space. Their first scale change. All of those elements make up your memory, your associations. And I'm trying to get to the foundation of associations, which is pure form. That's the lecture of the day. All right, let's go on. Oppositional expression. Short.
Here I meant tall. This one's supposed to be tall, and then this one's short.
Okay, so well, one's tall and one's short. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But taller would be taller if it was taller, and shorter would be shorter if it was shorter, right?
Yeah.
And so
definitely.
to try to express these things in their most emphatic way would then make the understanding, clarity of the keyword even more clear, right?
Yeah.
And what was the instructions here? Let me look. One second. Okay, many or few. All right, so you used many. You used a circle, a triangle, and some of those are not circles. But if they were circles, that'd
It's
work.
supposed to be, yeah.
Those would be circles. That'd work. Yeah, that'd work. If the if the top circle, if you went and put this the two circles on at the bottom of the page, and then started your triangle and extended it all the way to the top, and
You're saying like this?
yeah, and now make that top make that go off the edge, so it's absolutely it's so tall, it's taller than the frame there.
Okay.
Now click the top circle and the frame and go clipping mask. Shift, click the stroke. Shift, click the stroke, the rectangle, or not square, the square. It's a stroke, the frame. Yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now go object, clipping path, make.
Clipping path, make. Okay.
Okay, go Command Z. Go to the make.
Clipping mask or clip or
no, clipping mask, make.
Okay.
Okay, it's Command Z. Now what has to happen is that rule, the stroke has to be in front. So select it, go click and deselect everything by clicking off of it. Select just the stroke 1 point rule.
So just
not
like right here?
that. No, the
Oh, okay.
box, the outside box. There. Now object, arrange, bring to front. Oh, it's filled. So go down to the fill, which is the bottom of the toolbox, and pick that red line, that red stripe. There.
Okay.
Now go shift click on the circle, top circle. Now go object, clipping path, make. There. Work? Yes. Tall? Yes. All right. You got to select the rectangle and put a stroke back on it. Up top,
How do I do that?
up top, stroke right there.
Okay.
1 point. Oh, didn't do it. Oh,
Is it because this is
yeah,
do I have to put it black?
yeah, there. Switch that. Oops. No, you switch the. It's fill. Put it a fill. Click on the stroke.
Click on the stroke. Okay.
You're. Now you gotta put a. You gotta make that. If you look at your bottom of your toolbox, you'll see there's nothing. It's nothing. It's saying what am I? Don't do there. Do the stroke. Click on the stroke. That's below the box. Toolbox. You don't have a color fill.
Toolbox.
There.
Okay.
Click. Okay, that's the fill. You gotta empty that. Click on the stroke, which is underneath it. Underneath that. See those little question
Underneath?
marks? No.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
there. Click. Now you got that engaged. Now you can click on the black. That'll do it there as well. There. All right, so
Okay.
you almost got it there, except for you got to fill the open that. Fill that. Click.
It clicks on the whole stroke.
Yeah, it clicks on the whole thing. Okay. So click on the whole thing. Just click on it and we'll release it. Object, clipping, mask, release. All right. Now go fill that top circle.
Do I click it here?
You want to, yeah, you can click there. It's got to be, you got to have the square on the toolbox. This is actually good because we're explaining how this relationship between the squares and the toolbox, the stroke and the square, has got to be in front. The square, that square in the toolbox with a red line has got to be in front. Click on it.
Switch this.
Yes. There. You see how it's in front, everybody? This is actually very important because you got to pick the fill or the stroke. The one that you're engaged in has got to be in front. So that now you're engaged in the fill. The stroke happens to be black. Fill that with black. There, we did it. Now we don't need that stroke on, so you could take the stroke and make that not the stroke on the circle. You see, you can make that, go back down to the toolbox and click on the stroke and make that empty. That's a fill. Well, you just made a fill. Go Command Z, Control Z, Command Z. Click on the stroke. It's underneath. There, click. Yeah. Now you see, note everybody, you see how that stroke is in front? That means that you're engaged in that. You're going to do something with that. Go down and click on the red stripe. There, you took the stroke off. Now you got the condition that you want. Now you want to make sure the square frame is in the front, which I think it is. And shift click on the circle. And I'll go compound object, not clipping mask.
Compound.
I think it's clipping mask. But experiment, yay! Experiment with that. So now you got to select that and put the stroke back on it again. And if you don't want it that way, put another square on top of the square.
Okay.
Yay! Yay! You did it. Now those other circles don't have a white stroke, and they shouldn't. We'll do that later.
Oh, right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
do that later. We don't need to do. You know how to do that now. Now there we got to adjust that. You can do this on yourself. Adjust that, and
yeah.
If you're going to use this reference to figure, I put the short one on the bottom too as well. So that means that you're using the format as a expression of short instead of just floating around. It's standing on the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yep.
You got it. Good job. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
That's it. Yay. Okay, so we get this back. And okay, so we're done. It's 12:53. Everybody, parting words.
Thank you.
Grace.
Thank you.
Okay, Grace.
What's due for next week?
All right.
Just the game?
Oh yeah, you're going to do the game. That's just a little bit of fun thing, and I'm going to send you instructions on that. But everybody else has got to finish this tutorial. And Grace, you can go on to the next one. Could you read that one over, and maybe you can help me out, make the presentation next week?
Yeah, I can look at it.
Just take a look and see if you can follow instructions, and then you and I will make that presentation, and we'll all be starting on that one and then finishing up on the tutorial one. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, good job. All right, everybody, are we done?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good luck. Bye. Bye.